I'm going on tour again and I need your help, so I'm going to read this message like a letter to you. Dear friends, last year the Baha'i international community launched a year-long global campaign called #OurStoryIsOne to raise awareness about the ongoing human rights crisis in Iran. The campaign began on June 18, 2023, marking the 40th anniversary of one of the most notorious incidents in the long history of human rights violations by the Iranian government, the execution of 10 innocent women, all hanged in a single night in the public square of Shiraz. The crime of these women was simply belonging to Iran's largest religious minority, the Baha'i faith, a faith that teaches that men and women are equal, that freedom of belief is a sacred right, and that justice, dialogue, and non-violence are critical values for a healthy society. But it's not only Baha'is who are suffering in Iran. The 40-year anniversary of the execution of the 10 women of Shiraz highlights the fact that the people of Iran have been enduring an untenable situation for too long. Artists, poets, and musicians like myself, journalists and educators, women as a group comprising half the population, have been systematically oppressed in their own homeland for almost half a century. The oppression of women in Iran reached a boiling point in 2022 when a young woman named Shina Mahsa Amini died in police custody after having been arrested and assaulted for wearing her headscarf incorrectly. Mahsa Amini's death sparked the Woman Life Freedom movement, a movement that's spread around the globe and has shown the world that the Iranian people are longing for a freer, fairer, happier society. When I learned about the Our Story is One campaign and the execution of the 10 women of Shiraz in 1983, I was deeply moved. I began writing songs inspired by the people of Iran, heroic people who have stood up for freedom and human rights, often at great danger to their own lives. And so, last year, to share my songs and pay tribute to those heroes, I launched the Our Story is One dedication tour, inspired by the 10 women of Shiraz and dedicated to the people of Iran striving for freedom and equality today. I collaborated with the Brazilian-American artist Jasmine, and we traveled across Europe, giving almost 40 concerts in 10 countries. We played in public halls, libraries, theatres, cinemas, pubs, churches and community centres, all culminating in a special event at the European Parliament in Brussels, where we were invited to play for an audience of international ambassadors and diplomats. In all these places, we shared with our audiences the moving story of the 10 women of Shiraz, a story that reminds us that, in the words of Martin Luther King Jr., injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Now I'm bringing the Our Story is One tour to North America, and here's where I need your help. I offer these concerts as a personal passion and a voluntary service. I want people to be able to attend and hear these stories as welcome guests without any economic barrier. But the reality is that going on tour is expensive. I don't mention this very often, but over the last several years, I have invited friends to become patrons of my work through the Patreon platform. My patrons have enabled me to dedicate my time and energy to many musical projects over the years, from studio albums to concert tours. Without the support of my patrons, none of these things would have been possible. And so, in order to bring the Our Story is One tour to the US and Canada, I'm reaching out to ask for your help by becoming a patron of my work. Your patronage will contribute to the costs of going on tour, like flights and bus tickets and equipment, all the boring stuff that takes place behind the scenes, but which is crucial to the reality of touring. You can become a patron at different levels, and you can pause or cancel your patronage at any time. I recently added a new option to become a patron with just $1 a month. A dollar may not feel like much, but if enough people become patrons, it all adds up and helps to make projects like the Our Story is One tour a reality. You can learn more at patreon.com/lukeslott or through my website, lukeslott.com/donate. I hope you'll consider becoming my patron so that together we can bring the inspiring, hopeful, and above all, unifying message, Our Story is One, to America.